say that welcome to our morning show, and by morning we mean Mourning. Morning. You know how God says He'll turn our morning to dancing? Well, no, you don't.
Well, He will, but it'll be.
Joy comes in the morning. Well, you know what? I have to take it with you.
That morning, joy will come in the morning in April sometime.
I'm going to tell y'all what. It was a devastating blow. But here's the thing.
It was. You know what it was? You know what it was, don't you? Please tell me you know what it was. Thank you. You said it was a devastating blow. And something popped in my head, and I said, you know what it was, don't you? What was it? 3, 2, 1. Does anyone know?
Feel to go to bed every single night with your best friend.
I love it. Yeah. I love it. I love it. I love it. And I'm glad that me and Shep make room for you too.
Hey, I'm going to tell y'all this. I would rather not go to the World Series because we lost by 8 points than to go because we lost by 1. You know what I'm saying?
Maybe a little.
That hurt. To me, it hurts less. I'm not going to lie. The Rangers wanted it more. They did.
They did. They really did.
They wanted it. They fought every single solitary game. Congrats to the Rangers. Congrats to the Rangers fans. They wanted it bad, and they got it. And if you're asking me who I'm cheering for, if I'm going to cheer for the Phillies or the Rangers, it's not even a question. Even though I don't like the Rangers, I want a Texas team to win 100%. Don't you agree?
I do. I'm not going to cheer for Garcia, but every other Ranger,
right?
I am going to cheer for.
So I'm going to cheer for Corey Seager. I'm going to. He's very good.
Corey Seager is great. Simeon is amazing. They've got some incredible rookies. They're going to be very good. I think it's just time. I think it's a timing thing. I think they're going to be very good for a very long time. I think they're
like we have been.
They're up for a good, because to be honest, they're a year, if not 2 years early. They're a little ahead of pace. So, hats off to Bruce Bochy and the whole organization. So,
Randy Bell, you're a true Astros fan like I am. Do you and I never want to leave our first love, which is the Astros? Do we want to be Texas Rangers fans? How do you feel about it?
Wait, where's your mind, baby? Sit up there.
Tell me if you're thinking of maybe, because a lot of people they'll cheer for two teams. Like I love the Rangers and I love the Cardinals. I mean, whatever. But I think that's a football team, isn't it?
The St. Louis Cardinals.
Oh, okay.
I mean, yeah.
So, but do you and I want to do that maybe? I don't know. I just want to always be gung-ho for a Texas team.
It's been so tense. It's going to be hard. I'm glad I think the World Series starts on Friday, so I'm glad there's some days to go through. I've always been a Ranger fan. I actually hated when the Rangers and the Astros got into the same division because it's very hard to root for two teams in the same division. But then now just the kind of friction with them makes it a little bit tougher.
We don't want to, but we're gonna.
Yeah.
We're gonna learn to love them, and we're gonna be okay with it. Yeah. Well, everybody, I'm glad we got the sound worked out. I'm so happy that y'all are here. It's Tuesday.
Not really. It's actually closer to Monday.
Monday was a Monday. It was a Monday unlike any other Mondays. It wasn't a great day. And then it ended with that loss. And I'm going to tell y'all this. So my mother-in-law, who sometimes will get a wild hair and decide to make a dessert.
And they're very good.
It's like, God, give her more wild hairs. Give her more wild hairs. So she made it.
Make her hair be like the hair on Melissa's chin. Wild and plentiful. No? Okay. I didn't mean now. I didn't mean like just. I know. I didn't mean like now in this moment.
Plentiful. It's a be me.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, she gets these wild hairs and she decides to make a dessert, and so she did. And so she made some brownies and she sent them over. And I went over to her house last night after I got home, before the game ever started, and I said, "What's brownies? What's up, lady?" And she said, "Well, I don't know how tonight's going to go, and I know that y'all might need to have a little comfort food." I'm going to tell you something. David and I ate last night like our ship was going down. Okay?
It did go down.
We ate like we were on the Titanic, and the only people left were the violin players and us at the buffet.
The brownie with walnut buffet.
But David, we downed a Schlotsky sandwich like we had never had one. I found myself we were watching the game. I found myself eating chips, not like this, but like this. Okay? Then we had an ice cream bar. Then we had brownies, plural. I mean, I literally thought to myself, at the Titanic, those violin players, they played to the very end. They played till the very end. I don't know if that's just a violin thing, or was it like an orchestra, or was it just violin? I don't know.
Quartet. Let's say quartet.
Let's say it was a string quartet. But there were some people that hung on till the very end. If I was on the Titanic and it was going down, what would you find yourself doing? What would you find yourself doing? Would you, let's say that you were one of the ones that were not going to make it into the boat. And the reason that I say that is because I would have had a husband and they wouldn't have let my husband go. So I would have just stayed with him. I think, unless I was needed on shore. Unless I was needed on land.
Or if I shoved you in the boat. I can tell you if you were still on the boat and we were going down, I can tell you what I would be doing in my last moments. That no question whatsoever.
What?
I'd be arguing with you because you'd be going, "David, I told you to upgrade our stateroom. We wouldn't have been down here by the boiler running with everybody if you had just paid a little bit more to get us up here." We'd be arguing.
I can see that.
Yeah, we'd be arguing our last moment.
See that. I would have been praying. Great answer. I would have been praying. I would have been accessing the kingdom of heaven and the warriors who fight for us. But what do you mean? You're going to argue with me. This is exactly the prayer I would pray. Dear God, are you 100% sure I'm going to get into heaven? Are you 100% sure? If there's anything I'm supposed to do, I will do it right now in these final moments. Pray. I would. And that's the same thing I would do if I was going down on a plane. What would y'all do? I'd be praying big time. I'd be kissing my butt goodbye. Well, at least Mickey knows she ain't even going to try. She's like the old people on the movie that just laid in the lawn chairs and took it. They just
going to be fine.
I'd be praying over my kids that got to go on the other boat. I'd be crying. And Heather Kennedy says I'd be laughing. I'd fit both of us on that door. That is the truth. But see, I'm with Elizabeth, who says, I'd just be laid up in bed with some food. I want to go down eating cake.
Here's the truth of the matter. If we didn't have kids with us, if we had kids with us, wouldn't be a question. If we didn't have kids with us, we would peacefully be at the bottom of the ocean because we would have slept through the entire.
For sure.
We would have had the room cranked down to 58 degrees, covers pulled over, sound machine on.
The sound machine.
Yeah, and we would be at the bottom and never even know it.
We would be like this. Oh, David, do you feel it rocking?
Oh, that is so good.
I don't even know how we got on that.
That is so good. Hey, speaking of, if what would you do if you were on a plane going down? Did you hear about the Alaska Airlines?
No.
You didn't hear. So
hey,
this you did?
Yeah, I've flown Alaska Airlines. It's a very nice airline.
Hey, see, what's he?
David, when you bring stuff up out of my past that I was sure you never listened to. I was positive when I told those stories from my childhood, you did not listen. And not only did you listen, you knew the abbreviation for the American Christian Youth Corps.
I see, what's he?
That makes me want to rip your clothes off and get
Most Page?
And love you like our boat's going down.
Most Page? Exterior, not interior.
David, you are killing me right now with knowing my childhood stories.
Baby, just because you don't listen to me doesn't mean I don't listen to you.
You know what sport you played in high school?
That's it.
Okay. I'm just kidding. Okay, so anyway, yes, I did Alaskan Airlines. It's very nice. Go ahead.
So there was a pilot, you know how they'll take deadhead or basically just hop on another plane to get back to wherever they need to go. That I'm not for sure if he was with Alaska or maybe Horizon or something like that. But this pilot from not scheduled to be on that, just was going to jump in the jump seat and ride. In the cockpit, in the thing, he went to pull the fire suppression system, which would have automatically killed the engines.
He's sitting up there with other pilots?
At cruise altitude. And the pilot and the co-pilot had to restrain him and get him out of the cabin, and they were able to land safely. But the guy has like 160 something charges against him, 83 counts of attempted murder because all the people on the plane. And this guy has been a pilot like for the last 20 years. It is just, okay, I didn't know if it was a sister airline or whatever, but he just like, I mean, they don't know why.
The reason I ask is because it's not a lot there. It brings out the crazy in me.
Well, I do think there's isn't there a higher level of depression or something? But
crazy.
Can you imagine that? Hey, kudos to that dang.
We need him, y'all.
That dang pilot and co-pilot. You know when it's been a long flight or you were delayed or whatever, or even a little bumpy, and then the plane lands and everybody's like, "Yeah, thank you, Mr. Pilot." No, this is like a 5 to 10 minute standing ovation. This is like, I'm gonna go buy your lunch. Well, they're at the jetway now, but I just can't imagine. I can't imagine that. I'm sorry.
I've got one for Dave. I know he hasn't heard this. It actually came out last week. Probably some of you have heard it, but I know he hasn't, or he would have brought it up to me. So I have a news story, and I'm going to read it right now, okay, and get y'all's feelings on it. Actually, I feel like I know what your feelings would be, but here we go. Are you ready? First dates can be tricky, but one in Atlanta got downright slimy. When a woman slurped down 48 oysters, racking up a massive tab. But it gets more interesting.
Good Lord.
The woman posted about the date at Fontaine's Oyster House on TikTok, saying the man asked her out on a first date. So the woman who slurped down the oysters, she's the one posting this. And here's what she says. So this guy asked me out on a first date just for drinks. But we ended up going to this oyster house, sitting at the bar. But I ended up ordering and eating 4 dozen oysters.
Good Lord.
When the 4th platter of a dozen oysters came, he was looking at me like I was crazy, she says. After the oysters and the drinks, she also ordered crab cakes and some potatoes. At some point, the man bailed. Bennett said he got up to go to the bathroom and he never came back. She ended up having to pay the $185 tab and later texted her date writing, "Hey, running out on a tab is crazy, man." And he responded, "I offered to take you out for drinks to get to know you, and you ordered all of that food." He offered to pay her over Cash App for the price of the drinks only. Most internet commenters, were siding with him. One writing, "Hey, you eat 48 oysters in a day? You a walrus." Another said, "I ain't ever ate 48 of nothing. Not even skills."
Good Lord.
Could have left too. But some said no, he still shouldn't have walked out on the date and on the bill. David Von Radke, what would you have done?
It depends on the girl and the personality and like, kind of, are we?
It's the first date.
And I'm just saying, like, because if she was just like weird, I wouldn't. But if it was, if it was like our first date or somebody that had some personality, when they went to order the third one, I wouldn't have said anything about the first. Probably wouldn't have thought anything about the second. When they ordered the third one, I would have made fun. I would have, not like real aggressively, kind of sarcastically, but just like, is something, are we like on a prank show or something? I mean, you're going to knock out another dozen? I mean.
Okay. I'm gonna make you go a little further here. But you make fun, you laugh, but then the fourth one comes. I'm asking you, is there going to be a point when you're just like, no?
In a perfect scenario, I would have had like, $100 bill on me or something like that. And I could have like gave it to the waiter on my way out or something, where I could have covered a fair portion, but not her whole, just got off the desert island, I'm catching back up. I'm catching back up.
That's hilarious. Okay, I want to read what y'all, I side with him. Good grief. Good for him. He got to know her all right. Today's takeaway lesson, don't be a woman. Okay. I would have ran. That's just gross on her part. It's so rude. Okay, so to me, and Lacey's saying red flag.
Somebody did have a good point, though. This sounds like this could be Remy on a date with crab legs. So,
you know what?
We do need to read this to her.
Be a life lesson.
I'm sorry, they were good, and we were enjoying each other's company.
To order them by the pound. I think it's rude to be asked, hey, do you want to just meet for drinks and then even order food? I think that's rude. I don't think you should have done it. I think that is his very nice way of saying, I want to go out on a date. I want to go out with you, but I'd like to just get to know you before we make a decision.
We both want to have an easy out.
Then you've got 48 oysters down, and then you're going to order crab cakes and potatoes. That, to me, is taking 100% advantage of him. It says far more about her than it does him. And in that moment, I feel for him. Because how do you know that he even had the money? Maybe he said drinks because he's like, hey, that's a beautiful girl. I don't want to lose my shot. I want to shoot my shot, but I'm kind of broke.
I've got $38.
Yeah. I mean, I feel for him. I think it was totally rude. And I love it when people put something on in TikTok or Instagram or whatever, thinking that they've got this, or you're going to side with me, and then no one.
And then I honestly think I might have felt a little bit bad walking out, not about walking out on her, not about walking out and making her pay for it, but thinking 48 oysters.
She might work with a restaurant?
First of all, those weren't Gulf oysters. There's no way those could be. Gulf oysters are kind of big. But, really nice oysters and Bisbang Bay, whatever. I mean, those are like $50. Some of those are $50 size, and they're incredible. Maybe those. But when she ordered the crab cakes and potatoes, I would have felt like I wasn't being a good Samaritan if I didn't take her to the hospital, because something is inside of her eating her. Right. And I need to take her to medical help.
Can you read? I'm going to get so lucky, because aren't there like these? I'm going to ask this question to you guys. We're talking raw oysters here. Raw oysters. Maybe some of you are going to write gross. I wouldn't eat any. How many could you eat? Now, I'm not talking Gulf oysters, because I don't like Gulf oysters. I mean, I do eat them, but they're not my favorite.
The sand fills you up too quick.
But if I was in a place like, oh God, when I had them in Seattle, I'm thinking those kind of oysters, those Blue Point. How many could you eat? how many could you eat? Honestly, be honest. Because when I say eat, I'm talking, I take my little bitty tiny fork and I scrape them so that they get off the shell. And then I add a little horseradish and I just slurp them out of the shell. That's what I'm talking about. Okay?
Yeah, not the whole cracker and again, big fat one. I mean,
0, none, 0.
Well,
I could eat 0, 0, 0. Dave says I could eat 6. 0 out of 10 would not recommend getting in a relationship with a walrus. 0, 0, 1, 0. I am shocked.
wow, nobody likes oysters.
0, none, absolutely none. 12 for sure. 0. I am shocked.
Wow, I'm going to have to call the Oyster Association and cancel that sponsorship because it's not going to land with our people.
So Andrew says 12. David and Maria says 12. How many could you eat?
I'm picturing that restaurant, you know, on the dock there in Seattle. They're incredible. They're smaller. We're not eating anything but that. I'm going to say 18 because I get a dozen and you get a dozen. We really don't need any more, but they were so incredible. Let's just get another one. We'll split it. And so I would say 18.
I think I could eat 2 dozen. I think I could eat 2 dozen like that. I think I could. I mean, I love them that much, y'all. I love them that much. I love them. But hey, speaking of walrus, last thing I want to bring up. Did y'all hear about Emily Blunt?
Was it something about
an interview that she had on an English talk show?
Yeah.
She had it several years ago, but not too terribly long because she was filming A Quiet Place with John Krasinski. So we're not talking like 20 years ago, but she was. So I came across. I was just scrolling through TikTok and I came across the clip and I watched it because I love her so much. And this is what you're the talk show host. I'm her, and this is what she says. Actually, we were sitting at a Chili's, and the waitress there was enormous. She was enormous, and she had obviously had a plate of enormous food from Chili's, several of them probably, and she says to us, "You know what? You look just like Emily Blunt." And I got tickled, and I said to her, I hear that a lot. You know, I'm doing the accents because the whole story was about the woman, the waitress, telling her in a Chili's, "You look like Emily Blunt," and her saying, "I get that a lot. Wait, are you Emily Blunt?" And she's doing it with this country accent, and it's cute. But she makes this comment about the waitress being enormous. She must have had a couple of the enormous meals from Chili's. And it was so off-putting because I really like her. But that was so off-putting. Well, now that has come out and she has apologized. What do y'all think about that? She still said it, right? I mean, there's a saying that who you are when no one's looking, that's your character. Well, who you are
when a whole television show is looking.
Who you are before everybody tells you that was tasteless. Isn't that who you are? I don't know. Do y'all have grace for that? Maybe I should. But I'm a huge fan of hers, and that really burnt me big time. Gross. I absolutely abhor when anyone comments on a person's body, good, bad, or indifferent. I think it's very rude.
I think it was very rude and tasteless. I don't understand on a show using that as a descriptor. Mm-hmm. I don't see how that from what you're saying, I haven't seen the clip, but I don't see how that added to the story or made it funnier or whatever the thing was. Now, as far as grace goes, we all need grace for yesterday, much less several years ago. But no, I don't. I mean, that doesn't. I don't like the way that sounds, and I know this is probably even going to sound worse. If Emily Blunt was a average or moderate sized woman, I think it would even be a little less, but she's like, she's not. And I think that even makes it a little more,
Uh, it's just so distasteful either way. Remember that we were talking about the date, and I'm going to tell y'all something sweet.
Give me just a moment.
Because I'm wrapping this up.
Give me just a moment because it's going to.
This morning, the kids were getting ready for school, and David, I had told y'all about the little boy that came from A&M to see Remy this weekend. Super sweet. He called her yesterday, and
So she didn't call.
So
she didn't call him yesterday and nip it.
He called her.
Because we had told her yesterday it was going to be nipped. So that's why I didn't know if she had already done that.
No, and I don't even know why you threw that in here because now that makes the story very confusing. But she had texted me from school saying that she was heartbroken, and I didn't really care or text her back just because sometimes as moms, y'all get it. We deal with drama all the time, and I just didn't have it in me yesterday. So when she got home from school, I was like, "Why did you say you were heartbroken?" And she said, "Well, he just called and told me that tomorrow, meaning today, is his ex-girlfriend's birthday, and he would like to call her. He's not entirely sure that he's over her, and that he thought 2 hours away was too far to make anything happen, and it didn't look like it was going to work out between us." And I said, "Oh, Remy, I'm so sorry. I didn't know that." She said, "Yeah." And so I stepped out of the room to go and just kind of serve dinner, like get Schlotzsky's on a plate and everything. And when I came back in the room, she was crying. And I said, "Why are you crying?" And she said, "Oh, he just called me to make sure I was okay. And he told me that he really apologized. He didn't mean to lead me on, but he was with her for 2 years, and that he really would like to make it work and get back together with her." And I ended up telling him, I just told him, "Well, you were a really nice guy to me, so I'm going to be a really nice girl to you and tell you what you should say to her to get her back." Rocco hears it. He's down the hall. He comes in and he goes, "You did what?" And she said, she's crying, little tears are coming down her face, and she said, "I just told him what to say to get his ex-girlfriend back. I mean, Rocco, he was nice to me. He was a real gentleman, and I didn't want to be rude to him. I mean, I did." "You told him how to get his ex back?" And she said, "Yes, Rocco, it was the right thing to do." And then she went just like that. She goes, "It was the right thing to do. He wasn't interested in me anyway." Like that. And she put her head down and she started sobbing. And it wasn't over this boy. It was over, y'all know what? I'm 17. Why doesn't anybody love me? Why doesn't anybody want me? Right? Y'all, that big old dirt bag of a boy, that 15-year-old douchebag, reached down and held her. "I'm so sorry, Remy. I'm so sorry, Remy. You shouldn't have done that. You didn't have to do that. You didn't have to do that." And he held her while she cried. And it was the cutest thing I've ever seen. And then he heard David say, "Hey, Chicken Express is in here too." And then he ran to the kitchen. But she looked at me and she said this, "Mama, when you and Daddy don't like a boy or y'all don't want me to date or whatever, I mean, I hear you. But it's nothing like when Rocco tells me. Like when Rocco tells me he doesn't like somebody or that I'm better than somebody or I don't deserve that or whatever, I just hear it far more from him, because he's my other half." And I thought that was so precious. I know it's cheeseball, but when you have children that are adopted, that those two weren't ever even supposed to, by blood, ever supposed to be brother and sister.
No, they were always supposed to be sister.
Blood and the DNA, they were never supposed to be brother or sister. But they have found each other and they are so tight. It just does something to me every single time. I said all of that because this morning, she was walking through our bedroom to go leave, and David said, "Hey, Remy," and she turned around and she said, "What?" And and she was 5 this morning, by the way, 5. He took her hand and he said, "Hey, are you busy Friday or Saturday night?" And she said, she looked at her hand, she looked at me, and she goes, "I don't think so. Why?" And he said, "I'd love to take you out, maybe take you to your favorite restaurant or go see a movie or something. Can I take you on a date?" And she goes, "Yes, Daddy. You want to take me on a date on Saturday?" Okay, at this point, he's grinning from ear to ear, right? She goes, "Do you want to take me on a date on Saturday?" And he goes, "Sure. What would you like to do?" And she goes, "I want you to take me to a movie." And he goes, "Oh, that sounds great. I'd love to. We'll go to your favorite restaurant before." And she goes, "Yes! Rock and roll! I get to go see One Night at Freddy's or Five Nights at Freddy's, whatever it's called." And David goes,
Do you know what this is?
"No, David didn't." He goes, "What is it?" He goes, "It's at Freddy's." I looked it up. I said, "David, that's that movie where those animals come to life at a Chuck E. Cheese and start killing everybody." And David went, "Oh, God." He goes, "Remy, maybe there's a good action or like a real feel-good." She goes, "No. Five Nights at Freddy's sounds good. It's where the big animatronics come to life and then they start slaughtering everybody. Dad, we were going to have so much fun." So I thought that was hysterical.
It should be a real precious father-daughter night. It should be good.
I think I'll tell you a sweet story, but it would end on that weird note right there. I thought that was funny. And maybe don't take her to Red Lobster because you'll have to go to the bathroom.
I'll have to leave her. Hey, thank you guys for spending time with us. If you got to watch us live, or if you're watching in the afternoon, evening, whenever you're getting to spend some time with us, we sure do love hanging out with you guys. Thank you so much for your amazing comments, both live and when you're watching these videos. That means so much to us. You liking and sharing and continue to get the word out that every single weekday, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Central, we are right here with the Radke Show. But the best part of the day, don't forget, is your golden moment. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Do you remember the other day when I told you to choose people who choose you and ask how you are? Well, today I'm going to talk to you about 2 more types of people to choose. I want you to choose people who see you and let you be you. They see you for all your wonderful qualities and all your terrible faults. They see you. They get you, and they let you be who you are. Good, bad, or indifferent. Choose those kind of people. We're going to be talking about what kind of people to choose to surround ourselves with. Today, choose people who see you and let you be.